Hey y'all, welcome to the next week's reading vlog. I hope that your New Year's was totally awesome. Today for me it is December 30th. Just hanging out after I watched the football games with my friends. It was a pretty sad football game for us, but you know, whatevs. I'm trying to finish up a few books before the new year starts. This book was in my wrap up, which you will have seen already, and I still have like 100 pages left, but like I knew what I was going to rate it anyway because it's the fourth book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood, and like I knew what I was going to rate it. So sometimes I'll do that because I film my wrap ups a little early, you know, that's just how the magic happens anyway. But so I'm finishing that up. Also, I got a good way into Dance of Steel today. I also have a version of this on my Kindle because when you order, I think I already told you this, but when you order Jordan Rivet's books, you also get a free Kindle copy of it, which is nice because I've been trying to read more when I'm like waiting in line. Instead of like hopping on Instagram or something, I try to read a few pages of a book while I'm like standing in line somewhere just to keep pushing things forward. Also, I finally broke down and bought a copy of Elantris, even though I'm probably going to be getting another copy of it from Murphy that's annotated. I just really wanted to be able to look at the names and like look at what's going on because the names, I didn't even know how to say them. Like you'll see if you watched my vlog from last week, like when I try to explain this story, like I didn't even know everyone's names because I was so messed up. But anyway, they're cool names. They're just, I don't know how to say them. So like the names of people are Raoden, Harathan, and Sareen are the main characters, which were the people that I was trying to talk about in my review. That was weird. My coffee maker just made a sound. I'm liking Elantris. It is very confusing / interesting / I'm excited to see what's happening. And I can't wait. But I also know that this is like his first ever book, which is super cool. It's also the first book of his that I'm ever reading. So that's really exciting for me. Yeah, it's definitely not bad. Also, I have sitting here Outlander with me. If you saw my, blah, blah, blah. If you saw my January TBR, wow, I'm sorry, I can't talk. I'm going to be reading this with one of my friends, and I just figured out she wants to go for it in 6 weeks. So that's actually a chapter a day, which I know I'll probably fly through this, but one of my goals for 2019 is to annotate more, and I have like 3 copies of this, so this one I'm planning to annotate since it is the TV version, and I don't really care if I like write in it or not. I'm going to try to flag it up and mark my favorite passages because this is, you know, one of my favorite books, but I actually don't know which book is my favorite because they all just were so good to me. So hopefully in this read through, I'll be able to tell you which one is my favorite. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be book 4 or 6 because those are the ones that affected me the most when I read them the first time, just because of some things that the characters go through I really liked. So anyway, that's enough blabbing. These are the things that are on my plate for this week, and I'll let you know what I get into. So I'll see you in the next one. Hey guys, Jen's back again. It doesn't look like I've moved position, but it is a new day. It is New Year's Eve, and I'm actually doing some reading from a book. I went up and picked up The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm, which is Tales from Allegasia, Volume 1 by Christopher Paolini. This is a bind-up of 3 short stories. They take place a year after the end of the Inheritance series. And I just finished the first one, and I'm already in love. And what's cool is that it's continuing the adventure, but it is also setting up the next stories because he is planning to do a 5th book. It's just he's writing a sci-fi series right now, and he ended up last year putting together or during this year actually, putting together these 3 stories. One about a fork, one about a witch, and one about a worm. And so I just finished the one about a fork, and it was super cool. I won't tell you what it was about, but I am going to do a spoiler review for this because I just have to gush about what's happening. Like, I can't help it. Eragon is one of my favorite series of all time. I wish I'd had the patience to, like, do my reread first, but this is such a short book. It's a small one. There's not a lot of words on each page, and it's only, like, 240 pages of hardly any words. Like, it's not a lot. And so I'm already a third way done with it, and I love it. Oh my gosh. He's such a good storyteller. I'm so excited. Who knows how many more years before we get another Inheritance book, but that's okay. So anyway, I'm really loving it, and I'm definitely going to write a review for it. It just makes me so nostalgic. Oh my God, it makes me so happy. So anyway, I just finished baking. I baked 4 dozen cookies we have a game night tonight at my church to ring in the new year, hanging out. And then tomorrow, since we finished watching all the Harry Potter movies, we're now going to do a chronological watch through of the Star Wars movies. So that is going to start on New Year's Day. We're going to have lunch together and then watch the movies and then hang out, and I can't wait. My friends made it through all the Harry Potter movies, and now a bunch of them wanted to do Star Wars, just to continue the adventure together. So that's what's going to happen. I have about another 15 minutes that I can read, and then I need to get ready and start moving. But I just wanted to start reading this. Wish I could finish it right now, but I'll probably finish it tomorrow, and it can be my first book of the year, which is really fun. So anyway, I will check in later. Hey guys, wanted to check back in here. It is Saturday the 5th, and I wanted to kind of wrap up my week for you. I had a really great reading week this week. I'm going to chalk it up to, good start on my New Year's resolutions, and just kind of tell you what stuff that I finished. I had a great filming week too. I got a couple weeks out prepared, but with vlogs, you always have to constantly be filming those. So, anyway, these things, whatever. Let's talk about what I finished this week. So the first book of the year that I finished was The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm, which I know I talked about earlier. This is officially my first finished book that I started in this year and finished in this year kind of thing. I do have a full review with a few spoilers that's going up on Friday. Is it the 11th on Friday, I think? Just because this is a new kind of installment in one of my favorite series, a series I'm going to be rereading this year. And so I wanted to kind of dive into it for those of us who love this story so much. So make sure you check that out. It'll be out on Friday. But just kind of my general feelings, I really love this. I did only give it 4 stars just because I feel like it's really hard for a novella to be a 5-star book for me. The only one I've ever given 5 stars to is End Every Day the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer, because it was emotionally shaking. Otherwise, I just feel like there's not enough story. Even though, this looks like a decent size, there wasn't a lot on each page, and it was basically just 3 short things put together, but it did kind of further the world a little bit, and I had a great time. It just ended up not being everything that I wanted. It kind of cuts you short, which was just disappointing because I wanted more time, but it is essential reading. If you love the Inheritance series, there is more to come, and I hope that Christopher doesn't wait another 10 years before another book comes out. I don't think it's a full 10. I think it's been 7, so still a long time. Then I finally finished The Hobbit by J.A.R. Tolkien. Those of you who have been following me, you know that I'm reading J.A.R.'s books in the Lord of the Rings series as a challenge with one of my dear friends. He is reading Harry Potter, and a few of us are reading the Lord of the Rings series as kind of a trade-off. How to say my feelings about this. It was a 3.5 star for me. And the reasons is that it got very repetitive in different parts. And for such a short novel, it takes a long time to read, and not just because it's written in that like old timey, like that's not how it was. It wasn't that hard to read. It was just things would just happen so randomly and with no explanation. And I want to say that part of that's because it's fantasy, and part of it is because I know that these books were written, you know, specifically this one as kind of like bedtime stories to his children. That is what I've heard anyway. And so you can really see that when you're reading it, how like each chapter really like wraps up the action within its own chapter before more happens. And I don't know. And then certain characters just pop up out of nowhere, and a lot of the dangers just are immediately resolved. So like it kind of feels like that fairy tale thing where like this big, huge thing is introduced and then it's gone right away. So I did enjoy it. I loved a lot of the times where they would be like telling stories to each other. The beginning, when everyone starts showing up at Bilbo's house, was delightful, which really got me excited. And then just, I didn't connect as much with the people as I wanted to. But I'm very excited to start The Lord of the Rings. And as soon as my friend finishes Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, I will start the second one. But book for book, my friend, book for book. I'm not going to gear ahead in these and then you're like, oh, well, you've already read them now. So anyway, you know who you are. And then just a few minutes ago, I was waiting to film this until I finished it. I finished The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is one of my Romance-opoly reads for the month. And I was feeling restless with the 4 books I had going, and so I was like, I'm going to start this one because maybe it'll take me the whole month to read. That did not happen. I read this in 2 days. Would have been faster, but like I've had stuff going on every day. I loved this. I really did. This one, if you're wondering, I picked it for LGBTQ lane. I'm having so much problem with that acronym, but basically you were supposed to read a love story containing that. And this contains, Evelyn Hugo is a bisexual actress, and she is writing her memoir. She's having this one woman named Monique write her memoir, and it's about the 7 husbands that she's had, because that's what one of the things Evelyn is known for, as well as being a famous actress and being kind of like the sex goddess of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And so it's like old Hollywood. Along with it, all of the judgments and constraints that you would think you would be feeling, you do feel. So I gave this a 4.5 stars. It was only not a 5-star because, so the biggest thing for me was that, so it goes from Monique's perspective to Evelyn telling the story. So Evelyn's telling the story, but it's like a first person. So it feels like you're going from first person to first person, and there is no real like explanation why it switches, and it's just so abrupt, and like you'll be in deep with Evelyn and then it doesn't even say like, you know, whose perspective it is. So it would just throw me sometimes. And they tried to make you feel for Monique as well, and there is a reason why Evelyn picked Monique to write her story. And Evelyn keeps saying like, oh, you're gonna hate me when you find out, oh, you're not gonna like when you find out. And no spoilers, but I thought it was a stupid reason. So, but that didn't happen until the last like 20 pages. So I had 350 pages of great story. Like I loved Evelyn, her being torn between, you know, the different men she's marrying, as well as her one true love, who is a woman. That's not a spoiler. Like you're told that she's a bisexual like right away. And that's the story we're going to be hearing. But I loved it. I don't read a lot of diverse romances. I just haven't. I haven't found any that made me feel the same way as the ones I usually love. But that's why I love this Romance-opoly challenge I'm doing this year, because there are 38 different books I'm going to try to read, and a lot of them are outside of what I normally read in romances. So I'm very excited for that, and I'm happy to say that this book was excellent. I'm sure you're going to be hearing a lot about it because it's going to be in some other videos that I make this month, I'm sure. But I did enjoy it. And as someone who haven't read a lot of female romances, this one was very tasteful, and I I felt the romance so beautifully. Also, there is a beautiful friendship in this novel between Evelyn and another person. I won't say who but that friendship made me cry more than the romance did, because I hold my friends so close to my heart, and some of the things that like these friends go through together just broke me because I love friendship. So that's, yeah, so 4.5 stars for me. So that's what I got through this week, which was really exciting. The Hobbit I had been trying to get through for like a month, so I'm happy I finished that. But good start to the year, 5 days in, and I have 3 books down. That feels really satisfying. So anyway, I will see you in the next video. I make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so make sure to subscribe to check in with me then. Have a great day, friends.